Dr. Gifford will be going through his presentation, and there will be a question and answer period following.
Well, thanks very much, Jeff, and want to say again how happy we are here at George Mason to be working with VDOT. Year 10, I believe. We started in 2000, so we're coming up on our 10th anniversary of this program, so we're very happy to have had that partnership. What I wanted to talk about today is a little bit about what's happening in the transportation industry. I think, as you know, we are seeing some big changes in VDOT, and you're not alone in VDOT. There's changes happening in other state DOTs and throughout the industry. As you know, there's a lot of changes happening in VDOT. It's a time of a lot of change in the organization, and I think a lot of uncertainty about what the direction of the organization is going to be, and that's not something that's unique to VDOT. State DOTs across the country are facing budgetary pressures and real pressures on their mission. We've had a transition in many state DOTs from a construction-oriented agency to an operations mission, a safety mission. Those are rising in importance. And the traditional mission of building new things has transitioned over to reconstructing, in some cases renovating and rehabilitating. And so that brings a different skill set to bear, different types of requirements. Operations is a multidisciplinary, multi-agency activity requiring cooperation with state police, with fire and rescue, with first responders. Often the state DOT people are not in charge on an accident scene. Other people who wear guns to work are in charge on the accident scene, and that's a different role for state DOTs, not only here in Virginia but across the country. The larger industry, we're in an economic downturn now. There's some of the congestion pressure is off. It's not a welcome cause for reducing congestion, but there's nothing better for congestion than a healthy economic downturn. This too will pass, and we're going to be facing congestion pressures back on our system going forward. The commercial vehicle traffic is also affected by the economic downturn, but pressure will be back there as well as on our ports. VDOT is the owner and operator of the highway system, of course, and motor carrier are major customers of the organization. People who use the system, also responsible for other sister agencies, the DMV and the state police. So a lot of collaboration and cooperation is required to keep the system up and operating, as well as our local governments. Industry-wide, we're coming up on 30 years since deregulation of most of the transportation industry. The trucking, pipeline, airlines, railroad has brought huge changes to the transportation industry, some of which are still unfolding. The airline industry still has not moved really beyond deregulation and is facing acute pressures, job changes. A lot of the adaptation is being affected by work rules and labor contracts and aircraft ownership rules that were crafted at a time when profits were guaranteed by a regulatory structure. So we've seen lots of changes across the industry, and the need for multiple skill sets is what we've addressed or tried to address in our degree program. The fact that training in a single discipline is not sufficient to become a leader in the transportation industry and its organizations going forward. So our degree, the Transportation Policy, Operations, and Logistics degree, is focused on a multidisciplinary approach, looking at all transportation modes. I will say we don't do much in pipelines, but other modes we look at pretty carefully: public transit, highways, aviation, maritime, and rail. Important components of a transportation system that will probably see some changes in the course of the careers that many, in the course of the careers of many of the people entering or graduating from our program here in the next couple of years.